All right, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to go over actually booking the appointment. So in the last video, in the intro video, we went through a whole bunch of different stuff, right? It was about, it's a pretty long video, a lot of notes, had to watch it a couple times. In the second video, I just taught you how to create a very simple list. So we're going to go into the groups, right? We're going to find the group that we want. We're going to join a couple of them. We're going to get approved, by the admins or whatever. And then once we get in there, we're going to start adding people as our friends so we can message them. Okay? In this video, I'm going to show you the language patterns that I use to book appointments, and I'm actually going to give you the exact wording that I use, or pretty close to it, because this is not like a telephone where I'm reading off a script every time I call someone. The conversations are a little bit more conversational than that. Okay, so I'm going to give you the language pattern. I'm going to give you some of the wording that I use, but just kind of be loose with it. You don't have to be very rigid with it as you would with a telephone script. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, they became our friend. We're going to reach out to them, and we're going to first use a reference. Okay, so I like to open up every conversation with, hey, we're both members of whatever, or something along those lines. Okay, in conjunction with that, I am also going to make them brag about something. Now, the way that I do that is to get them to talk. Now, we're talking about businesses, right? So I get them to talk about their business. So I say something along the lines of, again, this is not the exact wording of it, but you'll get the idea of the language pattern that I use. So I'll say something like, hey, we're both members of Long Island Buy and Sell, and I see all this landscaping stuff on your page. What's that all about? Something like that. Okay? Or we're both members of Long Island Buy and Sell, and you do some really good painting work. Right? Because the reason why I'm saying that is because I want them to write me back and say, yeah, I've been a landscaper for 25 years and whatever, right? I want them to start talking about their business. Business owners, believe it or not, I know this might be hard for some of you to believe because you might call people, they may hang up on you, or you knock on somebody's door and they slam it in your face, or whatever. It's hard to get leads, or whatever challenge you're having. Business owners love to talk about their businesses. They love it. If you give them the opportunity to talk about their business, they'll usually just keep going on and on and on about it, okay? But you have to do it the right way. And we're coming in here not as a salesperson. We're not trying to sell them anything. All we're trying to do is book an appointment with them. Okay? And if we use the right language pattern, you're going to see a massive success rate with this, somewhere in the 70 to 80% range. Okay? So, number one, we're going to use a reference. Remember, we're in the same group and we're friends now. Okay? So I'm going to use that as the reference, and then I'm going to get them to brag by bringing up something about their business. Okay, or something related to their business. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start qualifying them right away with the money/ability question. Okay, now I am not going to say to them, how much money do you make every year or whatever, right? Like that would be crazy. I'm not going to ask them that question. But what I am going to ask them is something along the lines of, how long have you been in business? Okay, now I may say something like how long you've been doing it, or something like that, right? Something along those lines. Now, this is not going to give you the money answer. All right, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. It's not going to give you the money answer. If I'm on the phone with someone and I am cold calling them and I am qualifying them for an appointment, I want to know how much revenue the business does. Period. I'm asking that question. Okay? But here we have to be a little bit more conversational. We can't be as in your face. I can't smack people around as much. And we just have to be a little bit softer with it, okay? So I'm going to say how long you've been in business. Now, if somebody's been in business, if they've been a painter or a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist or a plumber or whatever, pick your industry, right? If they've been doing something for 10 years, you think they're doing pretty well, right? Maybe they're not like worth $20 million, but they're making a living, right? They probably own their home, they probably have a couple kids, they're probably married, and on and on and on, right? So if they've been in business for 5, 6, 7 years, we know they're doing okay. Now, if I ask this question and the guy's like, well, we're a startup. I just bought my first truck and we started 6 months ago. Oh, that's awesome, man. Bye. Whatever. I'm not going to work with that guy because he's probably not going to have the money that he needs to invest in something that I do. Okay? So usually my cutoff is like 5 years. If they say something along the lines of 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, 12 years, something like that, I'm good with that. This is a little bit of a side note, and if you want to use this, you can. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. This is just like a pet peeve of mine. If I ask this question, how long you been doing this, or how long you been in business, or whatever, however I phrase it, if I ask that question and the person says to me, well, honestly, I've been doing this my whole life, man. And I started cutting lawns when I was 15 years old. My dad owned the company, and he retired 5 years ago, and now it's mine. If he says that, I'm ending the conversation. Okay? Now, again, this is just a pet peeve of mine. This is just something that I don't like to do. I hate working with people who inherited their businesses. And the reason why that is because most of the time, in my experience, most of the time, the kid inherits the business and does it because they feel like they have to. And they never really get the true sense of it's mine. Okay? And I need to have that guy take ownership. Because remember, one of the qualifications is authority. Right? I want that person to think, I did all of this myself. I started this from scratch. I want him to feel good about what he does. Okay? Because when I have that type of emotion in the conversation, and I'm kind of planting those type of seeds in his head, I'm able to close the deal later on much easier. Booking an appointment, you're going to get the same rate. If the guy inherited his business from his father, you're going to get the same rate when it comes to booking the appointment. That's not going to be a problem. I'm talking about down the line when you go to take money from the guy at the appointment, that's when the issue is going to come up. Okay, so I want to make sure that that person started the business himself and is still in business today 5 to 10 to 12 years later. All right, that's like my ideal candidate. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to under the radar qualification for want, need, and or desire. This is a tricky one. Not really a tricky one, but it's kind of a dumb thing to talk about because every business in the world wants more business. Okay, so we don't really need to ask this, but I always ask it anyway because I want them to start thinking about more business. Okay. Want, need, and desire is really, really important. But again, when we're selling to businesses and we're selling some sort of thing that's going to increase their revenue, whether that's SEO or whatever, this is usually checked off automatically. Okay, and a little bit of a sidetrack here, but I just want to say because it's important. If you're someone who sells search engine optimization, if you sell graphic design, if you sell web design, if you sell lead generation, any of those things, digital services, right? Paid ads, whatever it is. What is it that you're really selling them? I'm going to pause for a second. I want you to think about that, and I want you to kind of write that down or think about it in your head. If you sell any kind of digital services, whether it's web design, graphic design, paid ads, SEO, whatever, what is it that you're really selling them? The answer to that question should always be revenue. That's what you're selling all the time, okay? The biggest problem, one of the biggest problems that I see when it comes to SEO people or web design people or social media people or whatever, and this could be why. Remember, I think in the first video I said I sell SEO. Everyone says it's so hard to sell. I know nothing about it. I sell it like crazy. And I don't know why. Some things for me are harder to sell. Some things are easier to sell. For me, SEO is really easy to sell. The reason why I believe is because of what I'm about to tell you, okay? When I go into an SEO call, all I'm talking about is money. All the SEO guy is talking about is, well, the panda, the penguin, the keywords, and I don't mention it. I don't know any of that stuff. I don't mention any of that. All I say to him is, listen, man, you're a landscaper. Your job is to cut lawns. My job is to get you houses that need their lawns cut. I do my job. You do your job. We're good to go. The one promise that I have for you, Joe, is that every single month you pay me $5,000, I guarantee you that you're going to make more than that. The first month you don't make more than that, fire me, we part as friends, we never speak again. Does that seem fair? That's how I sell SEO. I don't sell it by talking about updates and algorithms and all that other crap. No one knows what that means. Okay? So when we're talking about want, need, and desire, every business in the world wants more business. Every one of them. From Amazon down to your local bakery shop, every one of them wants more business. But we have to make sure we pound it into their head and clarify it by asking a question such as, if I know someone who needs their lawn cut, can I send them your way? Who's going to say no to that question? The answer is nobody. They're not going to say no to it. And that's why we're asking it. Okay? We want them open to the idea of taking on new clients, number one, or new customers. And we want to kind of subliminally show them that we have the ability to do that for them without actually coming out and saying it. All right? So, want, need, and desire, usually when you're selling to businesses, is always checked off because you're always selling something connected to revenue if you do it the right way. But we want to clarify it and we want to pound it into their head. So I'm going to say something along the lines of, if someone I know needs their lawn cut, if someone I know needs their walls painted, if someone I know is going through a divorce and needs an attorney, 70% of my client base are family law attorneys and slip and fall guys or whatever. So whatever it is, if I know someone that needs fill in the blank what they do, can I send them your way? Yeah, of course. Why? Of course you can. Like whatever, right? That's what they're going to, that's the response. They're going to say, yeah, sure, you can, of course. And then you're going to get the appointment. Okay? Now, how do you get the appointment? You don't say to them Tuesday, Thursday, morning, afternoon. Like that's phone crap, right? It works very well on the telephone, but you're not going to do that here. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to tell them that you're leaving. All right? You're going to say something like, hey, I got to run out to my daughter's softball game. I got to run out to the supermarket because my wife is screaming at me. I got to run out to whatever, wherever it is that you're going or doing, whatever, okay? Don't just say, I have to leave, because that makes you sound like a moron. It makes you sound like you're lying to them, all right? Don't just say, hey, I'm leaving now, and then continue on. Don't do that. You have to go somewhere. You have to leave. There's a reason why you're being pulled away, okay? You can't finish the conversation because there's a reason why you're being pulled away. Hey, I got to run out to my daughter's softball game. I wanted to bounce an idea off you, though. Do you have a few minutes tomorrow? That's it. That's the whole. That's how you book the appointment. Okay. Now, what are they going to say? They're going to say either one of two things. They're going to say, no, I'm going on vacation tomorrow, but, if you call me on Thursday, that'll be fine. Or message me back on Thursday, or Skype me here, or come by this day, or whatever. They're going to give you another day or time, right? Or they're going to say, sure. Okay? Now, from here, you're going to move on down the line, and you're going to say, okay, you have a few minutes tomorrow. Great. What time? Right? That's not written in the slides. You might want to write that down. But if they say, yeah, I have a few minutes tomorrow, okay, what time works for you? Right? Just ask them, what time works for you? See, I think a lot of things, when it comes to selling stuff or prospecting or booking appointments or cold calling or talking on Messenger or sending emails, whatever it is, people overcomplicate it. They really do. Like, I can give you example after example after example, but it's just, if you just say to someone, do you have a few minutes tomorrow? They're going to say yes or no, right? If they say yes, you don't have to throw any kind of trickery at them. Just say, oh, okay, what time do you want me to write back to you? Or what time is good for you? What time works for you? You don't have to do any kind of craziness. Just ask them the question. Most of the time, salespeople suck because they don't just say what they got to say, right? I train a lot of mortgage people. I give this example all the time because it drives me crazy. I train a lot of mortgage people. And when you sell mortgages, basically what you're doing is you're taking someone through an application. There's a lot of questions on the application, right? And it's funny because in different industries, different questions get the salespeople freak out at different points of the questioning. So like in the stock business, the big question is like, how much money do you have? Or how much money do you have for an investment? Or like you'll say something like, Joe, let me ask you this. If the perfect thing came across your desk right now, how much would you have liquid to invest in it? Right? That would be the way that you would phrase a question like that. Stockbrokers, even though they don't really exist anymore, they're financial planners now, but old school stockbrokers would freak out at that question. They would start saying things like, I'm not saying it's ever going to happen. I know it's a personal question. You don't have to answer it. You could just estimate if you want. You don't have to give me any kind of detailed information. I'm going to not really hear you anyway. I'm not going to write it down or anything like that. The FBI is not listening. But please, 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 if the perfect thing came across your desk, and then they just like run through it. And the guy doesn't answer the question. They're like, why? Well, because you're acting like an idiot and you're asking it the wrong way. The same thing with the mortgage thing. They go through an application. When was the last time your house was appraised? How much was it appraised for? What do you do for a living? How much do you make per year? What's your credit score on a scale of 1 to 10? How's your credit? 10 being the best, 1 being terrible. They ask all these questions, and then they get to the social security number, and they freak out. And they're like, I'm not going to write it down. I'm going to rip it up the second you say it. The call's not being recorded. Nobody's listening. Please, if you don't mind. If you do mind, it's fine, but you don't have to give it to me. But if you don't mind, please, my boss will love it if you just give me your social security number, just so I can run your credit for, purposes for the bank. And the person's like, no, I'm not doing that. And they're like, well, and they're like, they're baffled. The salesperson's like, why is this happening to me? Well, because you're acting like an idiot and you're not asking it the right way. I get on the phone in the same mortgage company when I'm training them, and I run through the application, and I get to the social security question, and you know how I say it? I say, what's your social security number? And the person says 857-554-3, whatever. They just say it, right? So you don't have to get involved in all the trickery and the craziness. Just ask the question, do you have a few minutes tomorrow? No. Okay, well, when do you have a few minutes? I mean, it's really not that difficult. If I'm on the phone, that's what I'm saying, right? If I'm on the telephone with someone and I say, listen, man, I got to cut the call. I got to go out somewhere. I wanted to bounce an idea off you, though. Do you have a couple minutes tomorrow? The guy's like, no. Okay, well, when do you have a couple minutes? Do you have a couple minutes on Tuesday? Do you have a couple minutes on Friday? Well, I'm not sure. Okay, well, I'm not asking you for 6 weeks of your time. I'm asking you for 5 minutes. So when do you have 5 minutes for me? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? You want me to call you Sunday morning? You want me to call you at midnight? When do you have 5 minutes of your time? I'm not asking for the whole day. I'm just asking for 5 minutes. All right, now that's on the telephone. You can't do that here, but the process is the same, right? So just ask the question, do you have a few minutes tomorrow? If the person says yes, which they do a lot, right? Usually you're going to get yes, I do, or you're going to get no, tomorrow's not good. I'm really busy from the time I get to work to the time I go home, I'm slammed. So if you call me on Thursday instead, that'll be a lot better. That's usually what you're going to get. Either yes, I do, or no, and then an alternate time. If they say yes, you're going to ask them what time. Okay? Now, again, just ask the question. And I know I'm repeating myself. I know I'm saying it over and over again, but you have to get this through your head. If you start the trickery, then you're going to screw it up. Okay? I am not someone who believes in making it your own. I hate that. That's like it's stupid. Follow your passion. No, that's stupid advice. All that stuff is dumb. Don't make it your own. Take exactly what I am showing you and doing it exactly the way that I'm teaching you to do it. I would prefer, you don't have to do this, but I would prefer if you literally said to the person, hey, I gotta run out to fill in the blank. I wanted to bounce an idea off you though, period. Do you have a few minutes tomorrow? ? If you just copy and pasted that, I would prefer that as opposed to you throwing in all your own crap. Because if you throw in all your own crap, you're going to mess it up. Okay? Now, again, you could play with the words, right? Instead of saying I got to run out, you could say I got to go out. Or, hey, man, listen, I'm heading out to dinner with my wife, right? You could say that. That's fine, right? But if you start adding the trickery and the craziness, you're gonna screw it up. All right? So just ask the question. Your success rate, if you just talk like a normal person and don't act like an idiot, your success rate should be 80%. 70 to 80%, I should say, okay, on this. All right? As far as appointment booking goes, a lot of people ask me this question, and I don't have a separate video for it, and I'm not going to make a separate video for it because it's not really all that important. I could just tell you it, and you can do it yourself. As far as the actual appointment booking goes, I don't use, for this, any kind of special appointment thing. I use Acuity for my business. Okay, it's like $20 a month, and I get a text message every time someone books an appointment, and that's awesome. But for this, I don't do that. And the reason why I don't do it is because if I go through all of this, right, we'll run through it really quickly. If I say, hey, man, we're both in Long Island buy and sell, and I see all this landscaping stuff on your page or whatever, right? Like I use a reference, I make them brag, and then I ask them, how long have you been in business? Oh, we've been doing it for 10 years. Okay, so let me ask you this. If someone I know needs their lawn cut, can I send them your way? Yeah, okay. Well, I got to run out to my daughter's softball game right now. I wanted to bounce an idea off you, though. If you have a couple minutes tomorrow? And the guy's like, yes. And then I say, okay, here's a link. Book an appointment with me. You see how that's just totally like I'm instantly out of rapport with the guy, right? First, I'm just having a conversation, and then boom, it's business guy, salesperson. Right? I don't want that to come up, okay? So what I like to do is just take down the time, the day, and all that stuff, and I just put it into a Google Calendar. Like I'll write it down, and then I'll put it into a calendar of mine on my Google account, and that's it. All right, if you wanted to use an appointment thing, I suggest Acuity is the best one. That's the one, on my opinion anyway. They're probably all the same crap. I don't know. But that's the one that I use because when I needed an appointment thing, I searched for it, and that was the first one that came up when I searched. To be honest with you, that's the only reason why. And I like it because it's $20 a month. It's not that expensive, and it gives me a text message every time I get an appointment. That's the only reason why I really like it. I think they have a free plan too. But don't send, if you're going to use something like that, then make sure you manually put it in. Don't send the link to them because, again, you're instantly out of rapport. You're going from conversation to in-your-face salesperson in like seconds, and you don't want to do that because you just lose rapport. Once you lose it, you're never going to gain it back. All right? One last thing I want to talk about really quickly with this part. All right, this is very important. I have an hour-long video. I believe it's on YouTube if you search it out. It's somewhere online. I don't know, but it was a free video that I did, and it's called Status and Experience, Selling with Status and Experience. If you search it out, you'll probably be able to find it. Maybe if I find it, I'll put it in the membership area so you guys can watch it. The reason why I'm doing this, okay, there's a whole psychological process to this. All right, people buy because of two reasons. They buy because they're trying to increase either, I should say, and or their status and or their experience. Okay, so when you go out to dinner, you're increasing your experience. If you go out to buy a slice of pizza, right, you're hungry, so you need something to eat in your stomach. So you go out and buy a slice of pizza. The reason why you buy the slice of pizza is because you have a better experience after you're done eating the pizza, right? You go to get gas in your car because getting gas is a better experience than running out of gas on the highway, right? People don't buy Ferraris to go from home to the gas station. They buy Ferraris because it's a status symbol. They're trying to increase their status, okay? They buy Rolexes not because they tell time, because my G-Shock that I have a G-Shock in like 18 different colors because they're the best watches ever. This watch right here that I have in my hand tells time just like a Rolex does. Probably better because it's like linked to the satellites and like the Air Force uses it or something, and it never runs out. Like, I don't know what any of that shit means, but it's a good watch. It tells time just like a Rolex, but it doesn't hold the same status as a Rolex, right? If I walk into a meeting and I have like, yeah, man, look at my G-Shock, just got it. You know, $249 at Macy's, look at that thing. Shining it in your face. That's not the same as having a $30,000 watch on. Whether it's a Rolex or a Breitling or whatever, it's not the same. So people buy because of status and or experience. People don't buy a 50-inch TV because they need to see 50 inches of television in their living room when they're watching American Idol at 9 o'clock at night. They buy the 50-inch TV because when their friends come over, their friends go, holy crap, look at that TV. That thing is awesome. Mine's only 40 and yours is so much better. That's why they do it. All right? The reason why we're making them brag is because we're trying to increase their status. Because if I could get them on a higher status level, if I can increase that feeling, it's going to be easier for me to connect with them later on. All right? And that's a lot of psychology that I wasn't planning on going into, but that's really why I'm doing that here. Okay? I'm making them brag because if I make them, my phone's going off in the background. If I make them brag, right? When I come back to connect with them later on at the appointment, right? When I meet them the second time, they're going to remember that I made them feel good on the first call. Now, you guys may be sitting there saying, oh, yeah, that's crazy, like, new age, like, psychic reading crap, right? Or, like, whatever. Like, you think it's dumb. And maybe it is. It might be, right? But I'll tell you this. If you don't do this, you're going to be out of rapport with the person when you call them back. If you do it, you're still going to be in rapport with the person when you call them back. Okay? So the choice is yours. You don't have to do this. But if you don't do it, you're going to be out of rapport on the second call. If you do it, the person's going to, when you call them for the appointment, the person's going to instantly remember you. They're going to be happy to talk to you. They're going to take your call right away, and the conversation's going to go great. And the reason why, the only reason why, is because you made them feel good on the first call. That's it. I mean, think about anything else you do in life, right? If you go to a doctor, I have to go to a chiropractor because I hurt my shoulder playing hockey. If I go to the chiropractor and I walked in and the chiropractor made me feel worse than I did when I went there, right? If he didn't help me with my shoulder issue, would I go back to him? No, I'd go to another one, right? Because he made me feel like crap the first time I went. Now, my chiropractor is awesome. It makes me feel great every time I go there. But the point is, if he doesn't make me feel good, I'm not going to come back. And if I do come back, I'm going to come back pissed off, okay? So if you make this person feel good, then when you call them the second time, you're going to instantly be in rapport with them, and the conversation is going to go much, much easier. Sales is all about planting seeds for later on. Okay, later on could be 10 minutes later in the call or the meeting or the conversation online, right? Or it could be 2 weeks later. It doesn't matter. But as long as you're planting seeds and you're purposely doing it, you don't even have to know why. You don't have to know why you're doing it. As long as you're purposely doing it, then everything will be fine. Okay? Now there's a lot of them embedded in here that I'm not going to talk about because I'm not going to spend 6 hours on the video. But just know that there is a huge psychological process that is going on here, which I explained, here, and here. Okay, I could give an hour presentation on each one of these if I wanted to. Use a reference. I could talk an hour about this, why you're doing it. There is a purpose behind this. All right, I know a lot of you think, oh yeah, because they think they know you. No, that's not why. That's not why at all. Okay, I'm not going to tell you why, but just do it because it works. Make them brag. We went into that. This, how long you been in business, right? If I were to ask them, how much money do you make? What's going to happen? They'll click the thing out. They'll never talk to me again. All that's true. The real answer, though, is I'm out of rapport with them. I'm out of rapport with them. See, a lot of people think rapport building is a part of the sales process. It's not. It's not a part of the sales process. It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. My phone is going crazy. Sorry. Let me turn my thing off. It's the whole thing. From the second I become friends with that guy on Facebook, rapport is being built. From the second I become friends with him. All right? Not even the conversation. From the second I become friends with him, rapport is being built. And once we lose it, it's almost impossible to get it back. So we have to make sure that we're consistently in rapport. If I ask him how much money he makes per year, I'm out of it. And I'm not going to be able to get it back. So we ask them, how long you've been in business? Because it does two things. Number one, it keeps us in rapport and builds it. And number two, what does it do with his status level? I've been in business 15 years, right? He's a big shot now. His ego's going up. His status is going up. I'm making him feel good again. All right, and that's what I'm going to keep doing the whole entire time. Same thing here. What am I really doing here? Yeah, I'm making sure he's going to take on new clients. Every business is going to take on new clients. If I'm going to send them their way, of course they are, right? That's a no-brainer. I hate that term, but that's a no-brainer question. If the guy's a landscaper and I have a lawn that needs cutting, he's going to cut it. That's his job, right? He's going to make a few extra dollars. He's going to do it. What I'm really doing here is I'm saying, hey, I barely even know you yet, and I already want to send my friends to you to get their lawn cut. That's how much I think of you. That's how highly respected you are in the community. See how the status is just going up and up and up and up through the whole entire conversation? This is not done by accident, guys. This is all done purposely. And that's why I'm saying if you're planting seeds and you're doing it on purpose, then you're golden. You don't have to know why. You don't have to know all the psychology behind it. You just have to know that I'm planting seeds the whole entire way to set me up later on down the road. And that's what we're doing the whole time, okay? Same thing here. Again, if I were to say to him, hey, we're in the same group. How long you been in business? If I sent you someone, whatever, would you take the deal? And then I said to him, hey, I run an SEO company, and I want to sit down with you and discuss what we could do for your business to help you grow and bring you more customers. What are they going to say? Instantly out of rapport. Done. The conversation's over. Okay? Am I saying basically the same thing here? Kind of, right? I'm not telling him what I do because I'm qualifying a lead. I don't need to tell him what I do. I need to know that I'm qualifying based on my qualification standards. I don't have to tell them what I do. I have no idea why when people cold call to qualify a lead or book an appointment, they go in for 10 minutes about what they do as a service. That means nothing. Qualify the prospect. You know what you do as a service, so why do you need to tell them? There's no reason for them to know. You know what your qualification standards are. As long as they meet that qualification standard, fine. Move on, go to the appointment and tell them something. But there's no reason to do it here. Okay? If I were to do that, I'm out of rapport, status level goes down, and the conversation is over. And I'm never talking to him again. But if I do it this way, I'm in rapport, status level's going up for him, and I'm setting myself up for a win now and also at the appointment. Okay? If I were to cut out the first line and just say, I wanted to bounce an idea off you, you have a few minutes tomorrow, what happens? Again, I'm out of rapport, and I'm going to lose the deal. Why am I going to lose the deal? Because he's instantly thinking, this is another thing I talk about a lot, always ask yourself, what are they thinking when I'm saying X, Y, and Z? If I say to him, I wanted to bounce an idea off you, do you have a few minutes tomorrow? What is he thinking? I'm here now. Why do you need to bounce an idea off me tomorrow? Doesn't make any sense, right? Just talk to me. I'm listening to you. Talk to me, okay? That's why we say, hey, I got to run out to wherever. If I just say, hey, I'm leaving now, got to bounce an idea for you tomorrow, whatever. If I say that, again, add a rapport, status goes down, I lose the deal. If I say I got to run out to, and I give him a reason as to why I'm leaving, then it makes sense, right? I got to go out. I have a reservation at dinner with my wife at 5:30. It's 5 o'clock. I got to get dressed, so I wanted to bounce an idea off you, though. If you got a couple minutes tomorrow, free, right? You got a couple minutes free tomorrow, or you got a couple minutes on Tuesday or later on tonight, whatever, right? Whenever it is. All right, so that's how you do it. And again, if you do it the right way, and you don't really have to worry about doing it the right way, just do exactly what I tell you to do, because that's the right way to do it. If you do it the right way, you should be seeing a success rate of about 80% is a little bit high, 70 to 80% in that range. And I'm talking about booking the appointment. Okay, booking the appointment, 70 to 80% range. Okay, and again, remember, prospecting is about 90% of the battle. You prospect the right way, then sales will come naturally. Okay, prospect effectively, sales come naturally. That's the saying. Remember that. These people that you're going to be contacting are good leads. If they make it to this point and they actually set time aside to talk to you, they're good leads. Present effectively, close like an animal, pressure them into buying your stuff, and you'll have a lot of deals. All right, and we're going to go into that a little bit in a second here in the next video. We're going to go into what do you do at this appointment, right? I'm going to teach you how to make a presentation that is going to sell your stuff, and I'm also going to teach you how to close, and I hope you're ready for it, because when I close deals, it's none of this, bullshit that all these other people do, to be honest with you. It's none of this, I don't ask because I'm gonna go needs hunting. I'm gonna find out what they need, and if they need what I have, then I'll talk to them for 3 hours about their kids, and if they happen to pay me, then whatever. No, that's not how we're doing it. We are going to be beating the living shit out of people until they buy our stuff. Okay? Now, a lot of you may say, well, that's a little harsh. That's not me. That's not how I do things. But okay, fine. Then quit. Do something else. Okay? That's the bottom line. You're either going to do it that way or you're going to do something else, because the consultative selling people will be outsold by people like me all day long. It's just that simple. Now, here's what I want you to think about leading into the next video. All right? It has nothing to do with this. But leading into the next video, this is what I want you to start thinking about. If you had, I always offend somebody when I give this example, so I just stop trying to think of new ones, and I use the cancer example. Everyone's affected by it. Some way, shape, or form. Everybody knows somebody, whatever. If you had a relative that had cancer, right? And that it was bad, like it was terminal and they were dying or whatever. And you had a pill that you knew would cure that disease instantly. Now, this is no like BS fairy tale stuff. There was 100,000 people that went through and took the pill before you got it, and all of them got cured instantly the second they took the pill. Okay? And you had it. You had the pill. You went to your aunt, and your aunt has cancer, and she's dying. She's got 6 months to live, whatever. And you say, Aunt Joanne, I have this pill, and this pill is going to cure your cancer. 100,000 people before you took the pill, 100,000 people got cured no matter how bad it was. All of them got cured. They're all still alive. It works every single time. You got to take it. Here it is. And she says to you, well, thanks, Tom, for giving me the pill, but I got to talk to my husband first. What the hell are you going to say to her? Are you going to say, oh, okay, no problem, I'll talk to you? How long is it going to take you to talk to your husband? 2, 3 days? Oh, no, he's gone for, okay, so I'll call you next week. If that's okay with you, how about you just call me back when you have time? Dude, listen, that is bitch stuff, okay? That's garbage. Garbage. All right? If you were in that situation and you had that pill and your aunt was dying of cancer and you had it and you said, listen, you got to take this. Here's all the proof. This is what it does. It's going to cure you. It's going to save your life. Take the pill now. Here's a glass of water. Here's the pill. Take it. And she said, let me think about it. What are you going to say? You're going to say, Aunt Joanne, if I have to tie you down to the bed, pin your mouth open, throw the pill down your throat, and dump water down your neck, I will do it. Take the pill. Do it now. No, I got to think about it. Listen, punch her in the face again. Take the pill. No, I got to talk to my husband. Punch her in the face again. Take the pill. That's the way that you're going to do it. The reason why people bitch out in sales is because they don't believe in what they're selling. Period. Period. If you believed in what you were selling, like the example that I just gave you, aunt's dying, you got the cure. If you believe in it that much, you will pressure people to buy it. Period. End of story. There's no question about it. You would pressure people to buy it because you would know that if you didn't pressure people to buy your stuff, you would be doing them a disservice. Okay? I know my consulting business. I know if I take on a client, they are going to make an enormous amount of money from my services. I know it. That's why since 2007, 42 clients, 2 left. 42 clients, and 2 of them are not with me anymore. 2 out of 42 in 7 years. How is that possible? Because every client that I have makes more than they pay me. So am I going to pressure a new client? They pay 10 grand a month. Am I going to pressure a new client to buy my stuff? If they're a qualified prospect and I know that they're going to make money from my services, you're damn right I'm going to pressure them. Why? Because it's going to affect him. It's going to affect his kids. It's going to affect his wife. It's going to affect every person in that company. It's going to affect all their families, all their kids. It's going to affect the colleges their kids go to, and on and on and on and on and on and on. So yes, I am going to beat the living shit out of that guy until he buys my stuff. And if you don't believe in your product or service that much, you got to find something else to sell. You got to find something else to sell. There's too many people out there that just see something online. Oh, yeah, whatever. Tinder's hot right now, so I'm going to do that. Tinder's a dating thing. That's a stupid example. But whatever. Like, they see something online, and they're like, oh, yeah, Snapchat is awesome, so I'm going to sell Snapchat services to businesses. You don't believe in it. You don't believe in it. And the bottom line is this. You are not good enough yet to sell something that you don't believe in. I can, because I know the psychology behind it. But you're not good enough to do that yet. Maybe in 10, 15, 20 years, after you've been selling for 20 years straight, maybe you'll be at that level. But right now, you have to start off by selling something that you believe in because you cannot fake it yet. I can. I can wake up at 9 in the morning and sell chimney sweeps. I do it all the time. I can wake up at 9 in the morning the next day and do 2 hours on a dialer selling SEO. I do it all the time. I could do freaking alarms in Connecticut. I do it all the time. 2 hours on a dialer. I don't have to know anything about it. I don't have to believe in it. I can run through my script. I can get the emotions exactly the way that I need them. I could play the psychology game. I could do all that stuff because I've been doing it forever and I know it inside and out. You don't. So you have to believe in what you're selling. We're going to break this all down in the next video, but you have to understand if you are not willing to pressure people into doing what you're doing, then you don't believe in it enough and you have to find something else. Now, when I say pressure, okay, I'm going to define this quickly and then we'll cut this off and we'll go on to the next one. When I say pressure, I do not mean being nasty to people, all right? I don't mean pushing people into things that they shouldn't have, okay? People hear pressure, they think, oh, you're just slamming things down people's throat. No, I'm giving people something that I know 1,000% is going to benefit them. Again, I point back to my consulting company. That's why we've only lost 2 clients in 10 years now. And the only reason why we lost those 2 clients, one of them hated me and the other one I hated them. And that was just it. I mean, I couldn't stand the guy and one guy couldn't stand me. So we just didn't work together anymore. It wasn't because they weren't making money. It's because we hated each other. Okay? So if you're not willing to pressure in an elegant, nice way to people who you know you're 100% certain that are going to benefit enormously from what you do, then you're not doing the right thing. Just that simple. I will never tell you or teach you how to sell things to people that's going to hurt them or that they can't use or that they're not going to benefit from. That would be ridiculous. Okay? But if you have something that you know people are going to benefit from, it is your job to make them get it. If they're a qualified prospect, it is your job to push them into that product. All right? And I'm going to teach you how to do it in the next video. All right? That's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know.